All right, we're back in the garage again. Last time we left off, I had sadly come to the conclusion that I need to pull the engine. We weren't gonna pull any rabbits out of this hat, and no free rods on this one. So we gotta go rebuild this engine. First step is to pull it out of the bike, and then we're probably gonna have to make an engine stand for it. So, or modify one that we already have. So today, pulling the engine. And also on this one, since this bike, I got it, it was already halfway apart. The cooling system and everything was already off of this, so in this engine removal, it's not gonna be a complete how-to, step-by-step kind of deal. It's just follow me along on this journey as I take the engine out. I will try and show you some of the details, but it's not gonna be every single step. There's already stuff that's been done to this bike previously. So follow along with me and let's see if I can do this. Alright, so my first step is I'm disconnecting this breather hose here off of the engine. So this guy right here. So that's off there. Alright, and then I've also got, next I'm taking off, there's a little canister guy down here that is going to be in the way when I pull stuff off, so I'm going to disconnect that and move that out of the way. And that guy is simply right in there. And looks like there's one bolt holding it in right there. It's gooey in there. That must be some sort of oil catch can or something. All right, so next I've got some electrical connections. These guys right here. I'm going to disconnect both of these connectors because those both run to the engine, and then they'll be free for when the engine comes out. Alright, next I've got the exhaust headers. And mine I've got these little chrome pieces on there. So this one happens to have a hose clamp on it. I can't imagine that's how it's supposed to go on there, but that's how it is these days. So take this hose clamp off. The actual bolts down here, they're 12 millimeter on this bike. All right, this last one is going to need a wrench. Alright, that guy's out. Now, so you've got like four bolts there that bolt the headers onto the cylinder head, and then you've got a couple bolts back here. Alright, and then there's a connection on the between the pipes here. Alright, there's a connection in between the pipes right here. And there's a bolt right there, right here, this guy. And there's a cross connection between the two pipes on either side of the bike. Alright, so slight change of plans. Still doesn't want to come off of there, so we are now going to take off this bolt right here. Well, that's better. All right, same on the other side. All right, so if I just put it up on the rear kickstand there, on the whatever that kickstand's called, the middle kickstand, the big kickstand, then it should fall right out. All right, my next part here is this clutch cable. All right, so adjusting the clutch cable so that I can take it off of there all together. So that is a 12 mil. All right, so I'm going up to the clutch lever here. This adjuster here on the lever, the clutch lever, I am going to adjust this thing and see if I can provide myself with some more slack on the cable down on the actual clutch end of it, and that will allow me hopefully to wiggle that cable off. I got some stuff up on top of the engine here to take off. There's some fuel lines. These intake manifolds have to come off, or be disconnected at least, and then we'll have a much better view of what else we need to do here. So we've got a nice little chrome piece there. The chrome guy can come off. Let's do this guy and see what we got underneath there. Ooh, look at that. That's like a heavy piece there. Kind of like it without it. And I can see things. So let's take a look at it. Got our fuel line going in and out. Fuel pump. Take this whole piece off. Might be a lot easier. Alright, so this is the fuel pump. Runs off the cam on the right hand side. Very cool. Alright, so that guy is loose. Got a sensor. Looks like an oil pressure sensor. Alright, I'm gonna leave that for right now. Let's take off these chrome pieces up here, huh? So there's a couple screws on top here for these chrome pieces. Just screw there, there, and over there. That one's stripped. Good. Alright, that guy's out. Alright, there's a screw on this side and an equal screw on that side. Those guys come off next. That guy's off. Now, pa-boom. That's off. Alright, I'll do the same to the other side. Alright, our next move is to take off these bolts on the intake manifolds, and that will separate the intake manifold from the engine, and that should be pretty close to our last move before we then support this intake manifold. We'll strap it up here, and then we start unbolting the engine. So we got a bolt there, bolts back here, bolts on the bottom, or then the engine starts to drop out. So intake manifold, here we go. They've got these little washers on them too, so be careful of those little washers, you don't lose those. Alright, 4 bolts off. Then that lifts up. And there are supposed to be some little rubber O-ring gaskets in between here, so we'll keep an eye out for those. We don't want to lose those either. Alright, so I got a couple of these guys, these little rubber straps, tie downs, and I'm using these to hold up the intake. Now my next step is to start looking at supporting the engine, getting a jack under there, and then also disconnecting these engine supports on the bottom. On the other side of the bike frame, this little bottom support rail here, the frame actually comes out. So the engine is supposed to go out that way. But on this side, there's an engine support here and an engine support right here. All right, so on the left-hand side of the frame, we've got 2 nuts here that come off. We've got an engine support down here. Then we've got another engine support right there. Then we've got another couple nuts that come off right here. And these 2 nuts and these 2 nuts over here, and this whole beam here, this whole part of the frame comes off. There's also an engine support right there, and there's a couple engine supports over here. There's one right there, and there's another one on that side over there. So my plan is to first put a jack under here, support the engine, and then to start taking off all the engine supports on the bottom on both sides, and then take off this frame, this part of the frame here, take that off, and then take the supports off on the top, and there's one of these on the other side as well. And so take that stuff off, then it should be free. And then I know I still got like an oil pressure switch connection that needs to be taken off, and that's just a little bit hard to get to, so I'm gonna do that after the engine drops a little bit, and then it should slide out this way and be free of the bike. We'll see how it goes. All right, engine removal, here we go. These first couple ones on the bottom are a 19 millimeter. It's out, look at that. That's how I like it, nice and easy, man. This guy down here, this one goes all the way through the other side, I do believe. I'm gonna thread the nut back on there and then I'm gonna tap it with a hammer. Let's see if that moves. Use a soft hammer on there anyways. Alright, I'm gonna try and persuade this a little bit more. A big piece of wood and a regular hammer. Alright, we're moving on to this bottom rail thing. Try and take that out next. These are 14 millimeter up here. Yeah, on both sides are 14 millimeter. And this other guy over here is a 17 millimeter. Let's see if this works.
That wire supposed to come off of there?
Yeah. How do you attach it?
Well, oh, there it comes.
There we go. Oh, that's so neat. All right. Now we've got other supports to do. Let's get up here. Here, I gotcha. Supposedly, just pull this boot back. There's a little spring holding the boot on, and you pull that off, and then push the boot back. All right, and then the other engine support bolt right here. This guy goes all the way through. All right, but first, I'm gonna do these guys here. Those are supposed to be 17 millimeter. All right, I'm gonna try and tap out this other support bolt. This guy right there. See if this works. It's coming out. There we go. Ah, it's out.
Yeah.
All right. Now I gotta take the rest of that thing off. It's just this one guy over here on the very bottom, right there, that's holding anything on. There's just a guy down here. I thought that went all the way through. All right, so I've got a bolt that's stuck, and it's the last bolt to get the engine out. It's this bolt right here, if you can see that guy. And it goes from this side of the frame, from the left-hand side of the frame, all the way through the engine to the right-hand side of the frame. And it is right in there right now. And there it is. It goes all the way through there, and it's stuck, I believe, on the frame on this side. It will not budge at all in any direction. So, and it's been very frustrating. So we've got to heat this thing up. I put penetrating oil on it. We're gonna try to get this thing moving one way or another.